I got so much motherfucking design on right now.
Break it down, bring it back, make it clap. I got 3 old thoughts, new block, where that thing. Pictures on my line, and you know.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nurul Makrifatunnisa and I'm a student at Majapahit Islamic University. I made this video for fulfill my final assessment semester for psychology education course. And now I will tell you, or we will discuss about Bloom taxonomy. You know what is Bloom's taxonomy? I will answer the first question. Taxonomy means hierarchical classification of things or principles underlying classification, all moving inanimate places and arriving events. The ability to change can be classified according to several taxonomic schemes. The taxonomy of learning objectives is a grouping of learning objectives in the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains. Learning objectives are one aspect that needs to be considered in the implementation of learning, because all learning activities lead to achieving those task goals. In order for the learning process to be conceptualized properly, a teacher is required to be able to compile and formulate learning objectives clearly and firmly. And did you know what the Bloom's taxonomy has revised, or what is revised Bloom's taxonomy? This time, representative are 3 groups: cognitive psychologists, curriculum theories, and instructional researchers, and testing assessment specialists. Like the original group, they were also adults and diligent in their pursuit of learning, spending 6 years to finalize their work published in 2001. The revision includes several seemingly minor yet actually quite significant changes. Several excellent searches are available which detail the revisions and reasons for the changes. A more changes summary appears here. The changes occur in the 3 broad categories, that is terminology, structure, and emphasis. The domains of learning can be categorized as cognitive domain, psychomotor domains, and affective domain. This categorization is best explained by the taxonomy of learning domains formulated by a group of researchers led by Benjamin Bloom along with 1956. So, what is cognitive domain? What is psychomotoric domain? And what is affective domain? We will discuss it one by one. And first is cognitive domain. Cognitive domain contains a learning skill predominantly related to mental or thinking processes. Learning processes in the cognitive domain include a hierarchy of skill involving processing information, constructing understanding, applying knowledge, solving problems, and conducting research. There are 6 levels of cognitive complexity. The first is knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation. 6 levels in the lower order of thinking skills is remembering. And next is understanding, next is applying, next is analyzing, and next evaluating, and the higher is creating. Creating means that use information to create something new, and evaluating means examine information and make judgment. Analyzing means take part to know and identify relationships. Applying use information in a new but similar situation. Understanding means grasp meaning in instructional materials, and remembering means recall specific things. That's about cognitive domain. And next to affective domain. Most people think of learning as an intellectual or mental function. However, learning is not just a cognitive mental function. You can also learn attitudes, behaviors, and physical skills. The affective domain involves our feelings, emotion, and attitudes. The affective domain involves that. And the affective domain also have 5 level. The first or the lower levels is receiving or attending. That means willing to be aware of the setting or situation, gives attention by choice, and open to the experience. The next level or up level is responding. The responding is willingly participation, obtain patronage, find satisfaction in participant, and are ready to respond. The next level is valuing. Valuing is motivated to invest, chooses to behave in a certain way, frequently begins to identify with the behavior and commit to it. And the next level is organizing. Organizing means values become systematic, can compare and contrast values and choices. Begins to alter and prioritize values, chooses to commit to certain values and behaviors. And the upper level is characterizing. Characterizing means it consistently to an internal belief, can articulate a philosophy or worldview, can break down complex situations and respond accordingly based on values, develops and lives by a code of personal behavior. Affective domain include the manner in which we deal with things emotionally, such as feelings, values, appreciation, enthusiasm, motivation, and attitudes. This domain is categorized into 5 subdomains, which is include in receiving, responding, valuing, organization, and characterization, like we discussed in past 1 minute ago. Sorry. Receiving, like receiving, responding, valuing, organization, characterization, like we discussed. And next is psychomotor domain. Psychomotor objectives are too specific to discrete physical function, reflex action, and interpretive movement. These types of objectives are concerned with the physically accounting of information, with the movement and or with activities where the gross and fine muscles are used for expressing or interpreting information or concepts. This area also refers to natural, autonomic response of reflexes, and psychomotor domain is comprised of utilizing motor skill and coordinating them. Coordinating them. The 7 categories under this include perception, set, guided response, mechanism, complex overt response, adaptation, and the last is origination. So, the first is, we will discuss it. The first is set. Set is how ready one to ache, physically, mental, and spiritually. And the next is quiet response. That means beginner level learns through trial and error by practicing. Next level is mechanism. Intermediate level develops professionally and action becomes habitual. The next is complex of response. That means expert level high professionally and performs with accuracy. The next is adaptation. Adaptation means skills strongly developed and can be modified in different situations. And the higher is origination. Origination means create new procedures and solutions to approach various situations. And next we will discuss about example of cognitive, affective, and psychomotor application. The first is cognitive domain example of application. We have I think we have 5C. C6. The first C is knowledge. This level of knowledge is considered the lowest of process and becomes the basis for continuing to the next stage of learning. Example, students are able to name the types of amphibians. Students are able to read cursive letters, and students are able to draw the shape of a rose. The second C is understanding. At this stage, students can be said to understand if they can explain it in a detail in their own language. Examples, students are able to detail the key for biology practice rules. Students are able to associate the air quality around where they live. And students are able to compare good and bad things done. The third C is application. Students are realist idea or theories that have been understood. They can make something from their idea. Example, computer network engineering vocational high school students are able to apply the principles of assembling and assembling computer equipment in practice. The third C is analysis. This stage can be seen when students are able to describe something that has been understood in detail down the smallest thing. Example, students are able to analyze problems and formulate problems in drama script. The fifth C is evaluation. The evaluation level is the student's ability to make judgment in a condition with various choices without forgetting the criteria he has previously understood. Example, TKG students are able to prove the theory they already know through practice in a computer practice laboratory. And the last C is synthesis. Synthesis is a thought process that combines parts that have been discussed at the level of analysis into a new pattern in a logical and structured manner. Example, students are able to collect information about animals based on their place or habitat. And the second example that we have to discuss is examples from effective domain. The first is receiving. Children are expected to be able to pay attention and provide a appropriate stimulation response to show appreciation to others. And second is responsive. This ability is seen when children are interested in something and decide to get involved in it. The third is assessment or value, closely related to acceptance, rejection, or even not expressing an opinion on an event. The fourth is organization. The ability to unify different values or harmonize the differences found. 5. We have a characterization. Demonstrate behavior that is carried out according to personal characteristics, including personal, social, and emotional order. Example, proposing group activities, having a feeling of liking something, like a certain culture, to cherish and love someone, feeling sad to see other people's sadness. And the last, we will discuss about psychomotoric domain examples. Application. Psychomotor aspect can be seen or assessed by measuring children's ability based on distance, speed, technique, theory, and how to do an activity. There are 7 categories in the psychomotor aspect, namely imitation, readiness, quiet response, mechanism appear complex, response attention, creation. The example is mimicking other people's movement. When children or students can perform complex movements, create new ability to run, jump, and other movement skill in dancing, that we can say it, they have a psychomotoric and they can fulfill the psychomotoric domain. In the last minute I want to give some conclusion. The original Bloom taxonomy and the revised Bloom taxonomy are compared with reference to their underlying assumption and structures to see how the revised taxonomy overcomes the limitation and weakness of the original taxonomy. Showed the aim is to highlight pedagogically important features of the revised taxonomy. Translation from first 1G to 2D, inclusion the metacognitive knowledge categories, inclusion of classification tables. Potential uses of revised taxonomy for curricular instruction were also highlighted. That's all my presentation. That's all the video. Thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.